This is the old window mechanism, and to that is bolted this motor with like a worm drive which acts on this gear, which turns this, which engages with this, which moves this arm up and down that the window is bolted to. This is a replacement from Summit. It's actually quite reasonably priced. Looking at the mounting holes, these three holes are in the same place, which bolt here, here and here. This is missing. This actually bolts into the car here, here and here, so it still might be okay. The reason this failed wasn't because the motor failed, it was because this is supposed to be joined to that and it just sheared off. You can see it's a kind of plastic. So there is, I think, a different version that has like a triangular socket with three rubber sort of blobs in it that join the two halves together, and they can fail, but they can be repaired. This is harder to repair, and this was pretty reasonably priced, so we'll see if this fits. Right, first thing I'm going to do is get all this trim off. So with the armrest, ease it out. There we are. Right, next two things are, there's, don't know if you can see that, big screw there, there's a bolt there, and we'll come to how you get this off in a minute. This lever is held on, it's clamped on to like a square shaft. There's a bolt that goes through here, and it's got a Phillips head in the top, and you access it through this fluffy slot here. So you put your screwdriver in there, engage it and loosen it, and then this will come off as you remove the whole door card. Right, I've loosened that. You see how this is all loose now, so just leave it there, don't try and get it out. As you move the door card this way, it'll just come off with it. So we use an Allen key here to take this off. Now the next thing we've got to do is pop out the retaining clips that hold the door panel on, and one of those tools that I should have just bought years ago is one of these. So you push them in, and then you open them like that. See, and it makes the job really easy. Half of my clips are missing because the door card's obviously, I think, been off many times before. But there you go. So see if we can do one. So just feel for the clip. I'm trying to get, there we are. All right, and go for it. There you are, see? There's the clip. You can see now that the door card is flapping in the breeze. See? And this handle's already come off here. So we're taking this off here. So all we have to do is wiggle it about and lift it up as you go, and it should unhook. And then, because you've got cables coming into the door to this switch and to the the window motor that's not there at the moment, you need to lift this off, turn it around and just rest it on the sill here. That's the easiest place to put it. So we can see inside the door now. You can see this is my previous temporary fix. There's a notch in the top of this piece of wood, and it basically runs up through there, you see, and it holds up the window. Apparently it was quite common to do this in the past when the window regulators failed. So hopefully we can take this out and we can put our new mechanism, put it back together and put it back in. Right, although the spindle lines up, the holes line up, there is a problem in that if you look, it doesn't quite line up right. We're going to need 3 large space washers, otherwise the gear is going to be clamped tight against the back of this plate and it will bind, it won't turn. But that's not the end of the world, so we'll see if we can do that. That was fun. So you can see I've got spacer washers, 3 there, 3 there, 3 the other side. That little gear should move freely. If it's too far out, it will not engage the teeth on this here, which is all greased up now and ready to go back in the car. I've jammed the window for now up all the way to the top with a piece of wood down here. I hope I'll have space to get it out again, and I mean the other way would have been to put tape here over the top down the other side, and then we've got to wiggle and jiggle to get it back into the door. I just had to cut the surround off this plug to expose these 2 terminals so that these 2 in the door here will plug on correctly. It's always best to just test that works before you put the whole thing in. The next thing is I need to arrange the wire, the plugs, so that they're sticking up this way somehow, so I can reach them with this and connect them up before I bolt it finally in. I've just used a cable tie here to get these wires so they're aiming upwards, so that when it goes in the door, bearing in mind the 2 plugs it connects to are going to be about here, it gives you a sporting chance of getting the ends connected up correctly. I don't want them just falling into the bottom left corner of the door. Right, this is a small but important thing. You need to do a bolt here. It holds the bottom end of this window guide, which comes down here, and then I don't know, there's a sort of blob on the end and locating pin and a bolt which goes in there. If you take it out, obviously you can't bend the track, but you can, if you can see, you can just push it in a little bit, just a few millimeters, and that's just enough to widen out the gap between the channel and this panel to get this, you see, to slide in into the gap. Now we're not finished yet. We've got to plug these 2 together. You can see that the motor end is dangling here. I've popped these out through this hole, so got a reasonable chance of being able to connect them up. The other problem I haven't done yet is I haven't attached this end, the roller, into the channel on the window. Well, this is a hard slog. Put my arm in there and reached up. I've got the roller wheel in its track. I've got the wires connected up by reaching round behind it, and I've got one of the 3 bolts in that hold the whole assembly in place. I can't get the other 2 in because it would push the window up beyond the uppermost limit of its travel. So what I've done is I've done this one up really tight, and then I'm going to check that I'm basically going to power it up and wind the window down a little bit, which will then allow me to rotate the whole assembly and put these last 2 bolts in. I connected up the battery, flicked the switch, and it's moved down about 1 inch, so it is working. That gives me now just enough room to twist that mounting and get the other 2 bolts in without this hitting the top of its travel. So I've got these 1, 2, 3 connected. Next thing is to reconnect the bottom of the window guide. As you can see, there's a little bit of room for adjustment in it, see there? But I'm just going to line it up with the mark here where the previous washer was. I've tidied everything up here, including the plug. Tidied up the connections where it plugs together. I've tidied up these wires which enter the door from the switch. So now I need to put the whole door back together basically.